Hey everyone, welcome back. Happy Tuesday to you all. So Bitcoin didn't do as well as we thought it was going to do. At least I thought it was going to be up a little bit today, but actually was down to where it was actually the night before, the day before. Miners for the other part of it though were actually kind of mixed today, which is kind of surprising. We had some that were actually up today while Bitcoin was going down. So maybe is that the reversal that we're waiting for? Maybe, I don't know. Then we have a couple of stories to talk about. We have obviously crypto czar David Sachs. They had a press conference today. We'll talk about that. There's other things in there as well that I want to talk about. There's a bunch of stuff that's actually pretty good news. And then we have Cleanspark reporting their January update along with Hut 8 and Riot. We'll get into those numbers as well. And then we'll get into Q&A at the end of that all. So buckle up, is going to be a long one today, possibly as well. Not financial advice, as always, for only do your own research. Full disclosure below that. And if you would be so kind, hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously. But let's take a look at what's going on with Bitcoin here right now. Bitcoin's down a couple percentage points today. Nothing major, but it did go back down to like the 97,000 mark and bounced off of that a little bit here at least. So Bitcoin was down 3.62% on the day. Like I said, a couple of the miners were actually up in the green, considering that Bitcoin was actually going down. That's kind of good news there for us, at least. Bitcoin's now up a little bit here, 0.31%, but we closed on the day today at 97,787. We went down to a low of 96,145, which is kind of similar to what we had here on Sunday, when we went down to 96,179. So that looks like it might be holding as support there, along with like the 97,500 mark. Might be supported because we see that around here as well. We also see that around here. So that might be like support resistance at this level right now with Bitcoin. So we definitely want Bitcoin to go back up above that. And we do have some good news stories for that as well, which I think in time is going to help us going forward. And there's a lot of good stuff actually. So we'll get into that. But MicroStrategy was also up a little bit here today, 0.35%. Bitfarms is up nicely today, 5.71%. Also, Ben, the CEO of Bitfarms, was on Bryce's and Anthony's show today. I listened to like the first half of it. I didn't get a chance to finish it all up. Busy getting ready for this show tonight and kids and everything else. But the first part that I did hear was he laid down a lot of truths, I think, of what we as investors and Bitfarms were kind of waiting for, or looking for explanations as to what the heck is going on there, right? So a lot of it was based on the simple fact that they had a hostile takeover by Riot, right? Which didn't help them out. And I think with the stock being held back for as long as it has, it made it more difficult for them to be able to pull on an ATM to, because at that point, if you're pulling at these lower prices on the stock, you're diluting more than you probably should be. And that's one of the reasons why they've kind of pivoted more, it looks like, into the United States as well. So they sold off the Paraguay site to Hive, right? 85 million there. That helps them out a bit. And it seems like they're preparing more so for the next cycle, at least the feeling that I got from it for the first half at least. I don't know what the second half was like, but for the first half, that's kind of the feeling that I got there. And they do have obviously more optionality here going in the United States. They talked about also possibly moving to the United States. And then Ben said that they would have to change their books for the last like 7 years if they went to the gap system. I'm thinking, I don't know if you would have to do, well, maybe you do. I don't know the SEC laws and all that stuff. Maybe you do have to change all that stuff. And he said that would take, probably like a half a year or more to do that. I'm thinking quarterly results and all that. Maybe, I don't know if it would take a half a year or more, but that's kind of what we're going by there. So there is a possibility that they could do that, but it's going to take time for them to do it. So even if they do get a hold of Stronghold, which they are planning on getting this quarter here, it may still mean that they don't become a U.S. domiciled or U.S. headquartered until possibly in 2026, sometime maybe. Based on what I'm just, kind of reading off the grapevine there a little bit. So that's Bitfarms. We'll see how they do going forward on that. I still own some shares there in that one. But yeah, I can't understand where he's coming from as far as the hostile takeover, how that kind of hurt the stock or hurt the company there as well. A lot of stuff that had to be dealt with that. Then they also had the problems with the board and everything else. Okay, so a lot of things to clean up or clean house with. And hopefully they do a lot better going forward here. And they really do need to do a lot better. They need to execute on the growth, all the stuff that they're saying that they're going to be doing, and everything else. That needs to be obviously taken care of. But we'll see how they do. Okay, we'll keep an eye on them for sure. BitDeer was down a little bit today, 4.95%. Cypher was down a little bit as well, 0.17%. Cleanspark was up 2.36%, a little bit less than what Bitcoin was. but still overall not bad. We're in the green. CORZ was down almost 1% there. Hive was up a little bit, 0.34. HUD8 down 0.32. IREN was flat on the day, looks like. On that one, Mara was down just a little bit here, 1.67. Riot was up 2.5. Wolf was up 3.3. Smaller miners were also kind of mixed here as well. We had some that were up, some were green. DMG was up nicely, 5%. Stronghold also was up nicely, 3.98. That's following kind of Bitfarms there. ETFs were down for the most part today, not a lot, but they were still down. And then what else do we have here? Going down here, CAN was down quite a bit, 7.61%. Siri was up. IWM was up. King was up a little bit. Applied was up. Trump coin was up a little bit here, 3.6. Tesla was up 2.2. Galaxy down 1.25. Nvidia was up a little bit as well on that one. Okay. Bitcoin for the month of February right now is down 4.72%. So we're not starting out great in February here right now. Love to see that change. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll do that. We'll actually get a nice green month like we have historically in Bitcoin, except for 2 years. And those 2 years were typically like the bear cycles that we've had it in. So I don't believe we're going to be in a bear cycle just yet. We haven't really had a really good bull run. Bitcoin's above 100,000 or close to 100,000, so can't complain there, but it still doesn't feel like a proper bull run, at least right now. On it. Okay, some of the good stories that we do have here. Just in, South Dakota State Rep Logan Manhart says it is likely South Dakota will be the first state in the nation to pass a Bitcoin reserve bill. Right, so these are breaking news. You're not bullish enough on some of the stuff here. And this is, the states are trying to be the first to get a Bitcoin strategic reserve there. And we'll see which one actually does it. But South Dakota, if they get it, that's fantastic there. Right, so that's good news there. They're vying for that. I saw this one. I thought this was actually funny here. I thought of the same thing yesterday when we talked about the sovereign wealth fund that the United States is creating here. But Anthony actually put it out there. I just saw someone say Nancy Pelosi should manage the new U.S. sovereign wealth fund. And honestly, I can't disagree. I can't disagree either, right? As we've seen Nancy Pelosi's track record when it comes to investing, and she does a lot better in some of these hedge funds and things like that. So maybe she should be put in charge of that. She's obviously got the inside scoop maybe on some of this stuff here. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Want to point that out to you guys there. And then this, David Sachs and a couple members of Congress or Senate, I think, had a meeting today. So U.S. President Trump's crypto czar, David Sachs, says the first thing the president instructed us to do was explore a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So they're working on that. They're going to be taking some time here. I watched or listened to the press conference there. A lot of the stuff was basically that they're going to be teaching some of the House members and Senate members on the importance of crypto and everything else. It's a huge 180-degree turn from what we saw with the prior administration. So this is really good news, right? The more people that get educated on crypto, Bitcoin in general, how it can work, especially the blockchain and all that stuff, that is good news here going forward for us. Maybe it'll also provide some clarity in the space as well, because there's the prior administration was just basically not providing any laws or anything, any guidance, and just suing companies because they felt like it. So this is a complete 180 here. So this is great news there. And then David Sachs, Bitcoin could be included in an American sovereign wealth fund, but that decision rests with Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick is a gentleman that's going to be in charge of the sovereign wealth fund there. We talked about that yesterday. Meanwhile, strategic Bitcoin reserve is one of the first priorities his team will evaluate, right? So we talked about that. And here is Howard Lutnick. You got to listen to this conversation here right now. And this is, if you haven't listened to it, it's definitely worth the, 2 minutes long here. Hopefully you guys can hear this okay, and it isn't too loud. If it's too loud, let me know in the comments here really quick. All right, so let's listen to Howard here.
I guess the easiest way to get a clear view of where Bitcoin is going over the next 5 years is take a look at the last 5. Right? The last 5, Bitcoin has been an outsider in the finance business, but coming closer and closer and closer. Right now, there's an ETF just starting to go a little bit mainstream, maybe a toe in the water of mainstream, but banks still can't clear it. Banks still can't transact in it. Banks still can't custodian it. Banks still won't transact in it, and they won't finance it yet. I think people misunderstand traditional financial service companies. They want to transact in Bitcoin. They want new asset classes to transact in. That's just a good thing. But they need the regulator to say it's okay. Right now, today, right? If a bank were to hold your Bitcoin, they would have to set aside their own money equal to that amount in sort of like in a jail. I mean, you'd say, well, that's crazy. The answer is, that's why they don't hold it. But if you let them hold it, if the regulatory environment was good, you will see all the traditional financial service companies, the big banks, the big brokerage companies, they're all going to go headfirst into Bitcoin pond. That's what's going to happen, and it's coming. It's a slow, steady process. But eventually there's going to be a CFTC chair who says, you know what? Bitcoin is a financial asset, and we're going to treat it as such. And when that happens, you're going to see Bitcoin move in a very, very strong, positive direction. So that's why I'm a fan of Bitcoin. It's going to go much higher. It always bounces around like any other financial asset, but ultimately over the next 5 years, as it gets invited into this party, up we go.
All right. I couldn't have agreed more on that one. I don't know about you guys, but I see it the same way. A lot more adoption happening here in the future for us. This is not the end. This is the beginning for us. So we're definitely not bullish enough on some of the stuff that's happening here around Bitcoin, and we need to be more bullish on it. So, right, try to stack as much sats as you can, whether it's Bitcoin or Bitcoin miners, which are a proxy on that. They've been underperforming, but I think the best is yet to come for us here. Also good news here is the SEC scales back crypto enforcement unit. I think they're like laying off like 50 people there that were a part of it. So they were going after companies like Coinbase, others as well, without actually providing them clarity on what they were supposed to be doing. They would just go in and sue them because for whatever reason they thought they were going against the laws. Well, all these companies were going in and saying, well, give us the regulations, give us the rules, give us what we can do and what we can't do, and we'll abide by it. But don't just unilaterally decide something is illegal without actually providing the guidance for it. So this is good news there as well for the industry and as a whole. And we had another state added here. I don't know what state was added in here today, but we have now 21 states that are working towards a Bitcoin strategic reserve. This is great news. Love to see this whole map be orange in the next couple of weeks. I think that would be fantastic for us. And that's what I mean. Continuation of adoption here happening for Bitcoin, which was then going to result in really good stuff for the Bitcoin miners as well. So it's just a cascading effect that we're seeing here. A little snowball. Bitcoin going back 13, 14 years ago is turning into a huge, huge snowball right now. And it's just going to continue to get much bigger as we go forward. So this is definitely good news here. So I don't see much right now as far as things not to be bullish on with Bitcoin in general and crypto. And this is just going to continue on, I think. I mean, unless we get some crazy laws being passed here, which I don't expect, this is all full steam ahead right now with Bitcoin and everything else. So good things are coming for us. All right. So that's it for just things that are good news for Bitcoin and crypto. Let's take a look at the miners here. Cleanspark, Hut 8, and Riot as well. They provided their updates for January here. We have a really good update from Cleanspark here. So Cleanspark released their update for January. And here's a quote from, I believe this is from Zach Bradford. It is, Cleanspark powered through January, continued to improve efficiency and reach new milestones despite historic weather events across several of our regions. We did notice that they were down in production on their, on their wallets. So we could see that as that was happening, the production was coming down. We crossed the 40 exahash milestone, achieving more than 10,500 Bitcoin held in treasury, and celebrated the 5-year anniversary of our uplisting on NASDAQ by ringing the bell last week. Now that the entire team is focused on executing our path to 50 exahash and building on our top 3 position across operating hash rate, marginal cost per coin, and fleet efficiency, Bitcoin held, and total uptime. So this is where they've excelled. I've been tracking these guys ever since they basically pivoted into Bitcoin mining, and they have been really, really, really good. Like one of the top ones there for almost, it's going on probably, 3 years now. It started in 2021, so you got 2021, 22, 23, 24, for like 4 years now, actually, on it. So, yeah, I can't take anything away from them there. January Bitcoin mining update here, 626, down a little bit from December. That's because they had to curtail because of the deep freeze that we had here about, 2 weeks ago, something like that. Total Bitcoin holdings as of January are 10,556. They have surpassed, Hut 8 now. So they're ahead of them as far as total holdings. And Hut 8 has been holding a lot of Bitcoin for a long time. But Cleanspark was able to do that within the last basically year or so, where they just hodled everything for the most part. Month-end operating hash rate, 40.1 exahash here. Month-end fleet efficiency, 16.15. Total Bitcoin sold in January, only 22.47. That is an increase from what they have been selling in the past, but still not bad. And then what else do we have here? Got a couple of updates here, additional updates. Twin City, a new 12 megawatt site in Georgia housing S21 Pro miners is also almost fully online, with approximately 0.7 exahash contributing to Cleanspark's operating hash rate. The remaining 0.1 is expected to come online in the coming weeks. And then Cheyenne, Wyoming, we are actively deploying our technologically advanced immersion environment and remain on track for completion in this quarter. So that's good there. The full deployment is expected to contribute an additional 5 exahash to Cleanspark's most efficient hash rate once fully energized using the latest generation S21 miners. So that is going to be happening here within the next basically 2 months. So they're going to be getting to like 45 exahash here in 2 months or so. So that's going to be a really, really good update for us here happening with them. All right, let's take a look at my numbers here for Cleanspark, and then we'll get into Hut 8 really quick. Cipher Cleanspark, that's what I want. All right, let's go back up here. Sorry about the quick scroll there. So Cleanspark right now, as of last report, we'll find out on Thursday. They're reporting their quarterly results for Q4. Right now I'm at 292 million shares. I think they did buy back some shares, like 11 million, so it's probably like 281 million shares, something like that on it, but I'm still using the old data because I think there might have been some dilution there as well that happened with it, but we'll find out actually what they are at here by the end of the week. Market cap, roughly about 3.1 billion here. Performance of the last 12 weeks has not been great. You can see how that has played out. Current hash rate, 40 exahash. Future hash rate around 56 exahash potentially, depending if they change out some of the older machines, which I could also do that as well. So they do have a little bit of growth left in them. HODL, 10,556 Bitcoin. That's valued about 1 billion right now as it is. 32% of their market cap is HODL position. And each share has about $3.52 of HODL position in it. Production here, 626, right, for January, down a little bit from December. That was for the curtailing because of the cold weather. Revenue also came down a little bit here to 62.6 million. Bitcoin's been kind of more or less flat in January, I guess you could say. It was up a little bit here, but overall, compared to where it was in December as well, it was more or less flat, right, on the average. So that's the reason why there. Bitcoin HODL, I mean, you can see it here, right? Huge increase in HODL position ever since beginning of last year, basically. They've just been stacking everything that they can. Hash rate growth also really, really huge here. So January of last year, they were at 10 exahash. 4x growth here in a year to 40 exahash. Outstanding job there. On that one, BTC per exahash efficiency also pretty good here, 15.6, looking pretty good. Institutions and analyst ratings here increased nicely here, 392. Shares increased also nicely to 129 million. Percentage owned is 47% now. We still have 4 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price target for the high stayed the same at 30. Average went up a little bit, or actually down a little bit to 23.43. And the low stayed at 17 here. The main takeaway is institutions are continuing to buy, right? So that's a good sign there. And then their production here for the month of January, I had them operating roughly, it is over here for 26.8 days out of the month. And then we had the new machines that were plugged in roughly for about 20 days. I don't know exactly when they were plugged in, but that got us to the 62.595 million in revenue on it, and which corresponds with that with the average Bitcoin price here in January, and and the amount of Bitcoin mined, sorry, on that one. All right, looking at their numbers here for January, times 12 months, forward-looking PE, 20, right? I have them between 25.67 and 38.51, a little bit higher than what the analysts have them at, but still pretty close, right? I'm on the higher side of things, and they're at $10.84. They are obviously undervalued right now as it is. So they're not the only ones, really. There's quite a few miners that are undervalued right now as it is. It's just the weird spot that we are in with Bitcoin and everything else right now. If we look at the last 3 quarters and the current quarter, that's estimated in Q4 is also estimated right now, having between 18.89 and 28.34. So they're still undervalued on that side of things as well. All right. Now, what can I say about Cleanspark? Continue to do what you're doing. There's nothing I can really complain about. All right. Everything seems to be doing much better here for them lately. Right. We should have no dilution here this year based on what they've said here. So that should be a good thing. And I think we're just waiting right now on the quarterly results to come out on Thursday. If those are good, kind of like I'm hoping they are based on what I'm just seeing in the math on it, unless my math is wrong, I expect them to be in a positive EPS, and that should be a nice catalyst for the stock to possibly rally. We'll find that out on Thursday or Friday whenever they report the quarterly results. I don't know if it's going to be Thursday morning or Thursday after the end of the trading session there. So we'll find out then. All right, so that's it. That's it on Cleanspark. Let's get into HUT 8 here as well. HUT 8 is going to be kind of short and sweet here. So HUT 8 updates, their January production update. Here's a quote from Asher Goodnut, I believe. We continue to execute on key growth initiatives across our digital infrastructure layer. Data center construction at Vega is progressing rapidly, keeping us on schedule for energization in Q2 2025 as we prepare for the launch of our 15 exahash co-location agreement with Bitmain. As we focus on AI data center development, we also advanced and expanded our development pipeline. Okay, still no mention of Louisiana there, unless I missed it, but I read through this thing pretty closely here. I didn't see anything about Louisiana and them, working to develop a, what do they say, like a $2 billion data center there. No mention of that. I'm surprised that they're not upplaying that more. So that was kind of interesting there. What do we have here? Self-mining here, down a little bit here to 5 exahash. Obviously, some of the older machines are probably unplugging as they do some upgrades to the systems and things like that. Bitcoin produced also down to 65 from 89 as it is. And then their Bitcoin held in reserves is 10,208, right? Just slightly below where Cleanspark is at right now. What else do we have here? Hash rate under management was 9.4. Hash rate under management for hosting was 7.7 exahash. And then you got all the different sites here. And then going down here to the footnotes, the Bitcoin mined here has a footnote on it, 11, which Bitcoin produced net of the 50% share of the King Mountain joint venture held by HUT 8's joint venture partner was 51 BTC during January 2025 and 74 BTC during December. So that's got to be included in there as well. Okay. Let's see, Bitcoin HODL also includes 968 Bitcoin pledged as transferred to a third-party wallet to finance HUT's previously announced fleet upgrade. So they have that in there as well. And they can pay that off or basically use that Bitcoin there to fund the growth there, possibly. There's a lot of footnotes here for them. Let's see if there's anything else that was interesting in here on the footnote side of things. I think that is it. Definitely read the footnotes on all this stuff. You learn a lot more that way, I guess. Let me see if there was anything else here down below. I don't think there was. No, so it's pretty short and sweet on them. Let's take a look at HUT 8 here right now. All right, scroll back up here. HUT 8 has about 93 million shares outstanding. We'll get an update when they do report their quarterly results. Market cap is at $2 billion here. Performance over the last 12 weeks has not been good. You can see how that's played out there. Current hash rate 5. Future hash rate I have them right now getting to about maybe 9 with what they're expected to buy, I believe. And then their BTC HODL is 10,208. That's valued just under $1 billion here slightly. HODL to market cap is 49%, and each share has about $10.63 of HODL in there. You can see their Bitcoin mined monthly production with JVs has been coming down here ever since January of last year. I mean, they're down substantially, right? But the reason for that they're down is because they haven't upgraded their fleet. They've been operating a much older fleet and everything else, even when they merged with USBTC. But that's kind of what we have there on that one. Revenue also came down quite a bit here to 6.5 from 8.7, so about $2 million less for them. And then you can see their Bitcoin HODL here. They did purchase about 960 Bitcoin in December. That got them up to the 10,000 mark, and then they just added a little bit more here to it now. Hash rate with JV, like I said, been kind of a roller coaster ride with them. It's been up and down depending on what they're doing there at each side, moving things around. BTC per exahash efficiency, no, not very efficient. 10.09 here for the month of January. They've been like one of the worst performers here when it comes to Bitcoin mining here. We'll see if they can get that reversed once they actually get newer machines and operating at hopefully much higher uptime. Bitcoin sold value, they sold about 2.8 million here in January. Going down here to analysts. Analysts still continue to buy into them. So 276 analysts right now, or sorry, institutions. Shares went up a little bit here to 58.78 million here, and percentage actually went down to 59.2. Whenever I see that, that makes me think that there's been dilution happening. So we'll find out how much dilution we've had seen from them. But we still have the 5 strong buy ratings, 4 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 perform, 0 sells. Price target for the high stayed the same at 41. The average went up to 34.67 just slightly, and the low went up also to $30 here. Okay, that's pretty high numbers for them right there, $41, and I think it's based on HPCI potential for them. I think that's kind of what they're going off of. We know that the managed hosting and things like that do generate some revenue, but it's not a huge amount there. And we'll talk about that here in a second here as well. Going down here for January, I had them operating for about 20 days with about 5 exahash, getting us to about 6.499 million, which is right on top of that. So that's looking good there. And then based on this information here, using the January's numbers times 12, plus I'm including the managed hosting average monthly into it as well. I have in between 1293 and 1939 with a P of 15. We could bring them up to 20 because they are going to be growing their hash rate. We could say that, okay, 1723 to 2585 at that point. They're at 2157. I would say they're either what's the word I'm looking for? Well valued right now, or they could be possibly a little bit overvalued based on what we're seeing here right now, right? But it all depends on how fast they can, I think, install the new hash rate, everything else, how fast they can get customers for HPCI, how fast they can build all that stuff out. That's going to be interesting to see that play out as well for them. If we look at the last 3 quarters, which includes the Q4 numbers, which are estimated, plus the current quarter that we're in, I'm in between 940 and 1410, right? So that gives me that they are pretty overvalued based on that. And that's just looking at their Bitcoin mining side of things alone, I believe. It doesn't include anything else on top of it. So take that for what it's worth. For them, what will I say? It's just you gotta, get in your machines, get those things running, especially if Bitcoin is going to start flying here, maybe higher in the next couple of weeks, months, whatever it might be. You definitely want to be on that side of things going forward with having a nice hash rate there and reaping the rewards of that as well on it. And then we'll see what they do with HPCI, right? They talk about a lot of potential there. Let's see how they execute on it and what they actually get there as far as customers in the next 3-6 months, whatever it might be, or even the next year, potentially. All right, so that's it on HUT 8 there. Let's take a look at Riot really quick as well. And we'll get into your guys' Q&A here. So right now it's a January update here. Bitcoin produced 527, which is nice. A nice improvement here. Well, small improvement, but it's a nice improvement over December, right? Average Bitcoin produced per day went up to 17 from 16.6, so that was good. Bitcoin HODL went up to 18,221. Pretty much stacked everything that they had there almost. Deployed hash rate, I like seeing this, 33.5 exahash, nice growth there. And then down here, average operating hash rate was 29.3, so a lot better from what we've seen in the past year. They were at 27.4 in the prior month. And then they also got some good power credits as well, 3.6 million on top of that for the month of January. So things are looking much better as far as operations are concerned. I like seeing that. And then here's a quote, I believe, from Jason Less. Let's see, Riot mined 527 Bitcoin in January, marking the second consecutive month of increased production despite rising network difficulty. Said Jason, during the month we completed the commissioning of the Corsicana facility and are pleased to report that all systems are now fully operational, so that's great. As a result, the Corsicana facility reached a deployment hash rate of 15.7 exahash towards the end of the month. We also continue to see strong results from newly deployed miners and immersion systems reflected in the significant improvement in our operational hash rate and utilization rates. So that is good to see. All right. Jason has stated that they want to get to like 95% uptime. They still have a little ways to go, but they're getting there. Baby steps happening each month here, which is good. And then they launched a formal AI HPC evaluation process for the remaining 600 megawatts of power capacity at Corsicana. Right, we'll see where that leads us to. Here is that site as it is. It's a beautiful site, actually. Very well done here. On that, let's see. As a result, Riot is also reducing its previously announced total self-mining hash rate capacity growth and associated capital expenditures for 2025. Previously, the company expected to end 2025 with a total hash rate of capacity of 46.7. But in connection with this halt of the expansion of Bitcoin mining operations at the Corsicana facility, Riot now expects to end the year at 38.4. So not a lot of growth there. They're getting close to being pretty much fully, 33 there at 33. So what do we got? Another 5 exahash roughly of growth maybe left at that site or in total for them. So not a lot of growth here happening for Bitcoin mining side of things. And like I've said this before, maybe there is some good potential for HPCI for them, but until you get that, I would just keep going with Bitcoin mining, because if you don't get it, you're going to be falling behind on the Bitcoin mining side of things, and you could be losing out in a lot of revenue there. I know that they have some activist investors there, 2 of them. They're probably pushing them in that direction. Okay, we'll see how it goes, right? If they can get something relatively quickly here to build out for HPC AI, or they get a customer there or somebody that's interested in that 600 megawatts, then all right, that might work out for them. But even still, at that point, you're looking to build out probably for a tier 3 data center or something like that, if that's what they're looking for to do. You're looking, at the very minimum, I would say probably like a year and a half to build that out before you start generating revenue at that site. So something that's always, it's never easy, right? It's always a balancing act. What can you do now versus what can you do later on? And, you gotta take both sides of the thing. So I get where they're coming from. It's not easy. All right, let's take a look at the numbers here for Riot. And Riot has about 332 million shares. Market cap is about 4 billion right now. All right, so they're actually, well, their HODL is much bigger, but their market cap is bigger than Cleanspark, but Cleanspark's producing more Bitcoin. Well, Riot also bought some Bitcoin here recently, but we'll talk about that. But the performance of the last 12 weeks has not been bad. It hasn't been great either. It's all right, I guess you could say. Right? Current hash rate 33, future hash rate they said 38, so I need to update that to get them to 38 exahash. So they're pretty close to being fully operational here for the year. We know it's not going to be having any major upgrades unless things change around for them. BTC HODL 18,221. That's valued at about 1.7 billion. HODL to market cap is 43%. One share equals $5.34. Production. I like seeing this. This is nice. They've actually surpassed what they mined here in January of last year. They were at 520. They're at 527. Love seeing that, and the production has been slowly creeping up, so that's good there. Also, revenues have been creeping up as well as they've been able to execute, better operational uptime. Bitcoin price has also been going up, so they're at 52.7 million. This is the best that they've had here, probably in a long time. I have to probably go back to, I don't even think I have to look back to see what they actually got for last bull run on that. Bitcoin HODL here, you can see, like I said, they purchased about 5,181 Bitcoin in December, like Hut 8 did, Marathon did as well, Riot did the same thing. They use that for HODL position, which I'm okay with, as long as Bitcoin goes up, right, which we believe Bitcoin is going to go up. They're at 18.2 thousand right now. Hash rate, nice hash rate growth as well over the year. They were at 12.4. Basically, we almost got a 3x growth in hash rate growth for them. So that's good there as well. BTC per access efficiency, pretty good, 15.71. I think Cleanspark was like right around the same thing as well, if I'm not mistaken. 15.6, yeah. So they actually beat Cleanspark here for efficiency in mining here, based on the numbers that we have here. So 15.71, a little bit better than Cleanspark did, which is good because in the past they have been not that great compared to the other miners. So that is improving. That is good to see. What else do we have here? Going down here to the institutions and analysts. Institutions also increased to 450 here. Nice to see that. Shares also increased to 147 million. Percentage owned went up to 43.58. We still have 9 strong buy ratings, 6 buy ratings, 1 hold rating, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. Price target for them stayed the same at 25 for the high. Average went up to 18.33 and the low went up to $13. So we're seeing an improvement there as well on it. Going down here to their operations for January, I had them operating at about 27.262 days on average, with the new miners being installed operating at roughly 20 days because we don't actually know what that is. So I always give the miners about 20 days of operation there. That got us to the 52.695 million, which coincides to what we have here roughly, or pretty close to that number as well. So based on that, based on the numbers that we have for January times 12, that gets me to a future price target for them at $19 to 28, kind of in line with the analysts there as well. But definitely I do view them as being right now still undervalued, being at $12.90 or $12.29, right? So they are undervalued in my opinion. And they should be higher from where they are right now. As long as they can continue to operate at this kind of operational uptime and everything else, they should be valued higher. That's just my opinion there. But that's it on them. What can I say about Riot? Riot, I like seeing that they're operating here much better, operational uptime, everything else. It seems like things are finally starting to click for them, and they're having better operational uptime, which I've been, kind of bashing them about it for, probably now, I would say maybe a year and a half to 2 years, something like that. Ever since they had the issue with their other facility, where they had the winter storm there, the ice storm, and it took out some of their equipment there, and they had issues with it. So ever since then, it's been nothing but trouble. But it seems like they're definitely getting things on the right foot again. So that's good to see. All right, that is all I got for them. We'll call it a day here. We'll get into Q&A as always, and then I got to do my little sales pitch here. Patreon members, love everyone there that's helping support me. If you want to have access to all these spreadsheets, you can get it there. It's $8 a month. You might be able to find a couple spots that are still open at 5 and 4. Definitely get those. You get a discount. But that's my little sales pitch here. That's it. All right. Other than the commercials you guys have to watch on YouTube. That's why, if you have YouTube, I would say get YouTube Prime or YouTube Premium, whatever you want to call it. It is just such a huge time savings with the commercials. It is well worth the, what is it now, $8, $9 a month, whatever it might be, even at $12 a month. It is so well worth it. You save so much time on it, especially if you value your time. And I don't get paid for that if you have YouTube Premium or something like that, or Prime. All right, let's get into Q&A here. I'm rambling on here about YouTube. All right. As always, with the questions, preface them with a question mark. I'm going to scroll my way up on the questions. It's going to take me a little while. I see you guys have been busy chatting along here on it. So bear with me while I scroll up a little bit and work my way down here. And we'll get to everything that we can here. All right, let's start with Victor C here. Is Core looking for more customers apart from what they have? Yes, they are. They're looking for not only customers, they're also looking for more sites. So they are. My dad has still a bunch of cores. He's still a big believer in them going forward here. So what else here? Question, what is your price prediction for IREN this year if Bitcoin is at 200,000? At 200,000, as long as they can continue to execute like they have. And then the unknown question is, do they actually get a HPCI customer that's going to be a sizable portion for the revenue? If they do that, then all bets are off a little bit here. But I think at 200,000, they should be able to get to, like, I would say, I'm hoping, right, fingers crossed, my thoughts on it are probably around like 50 plus. If it goes to 200,000, because as they grow their hash rate as well to like 50 exahash by the end, I think is it the end of the year or the end of the first half, I think is their target to get to 50 exahash. If they can continue to do that, they're going to be generating a heck of a lot more revenue. That should bode well for them. The only thing is IREN, and I own a lot of IREN's shares as well. The only thing, I wish they would have more, well, I wish they would have a HODL position. They don't have a HODL position right now as it is. That's the only thing I can kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Drawing a blank. Kind of nick them on, I guess, a little bit on that one. Okay. Let's see here. All right, John Kurtz has a question. Did you see Insider Monkey article tonight on 10 best blockchain stocks to buy? I kid you not, top 3 down, Cleanspark, Hive, and Bitfarms. Okay, I did not see that, no. Let's see. Road Schooling says, I thought Florida had some kind of SBR bill. Maybe they're still in the works, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, you would think that they would have something like that. Let's see. What else? Okay, here we go. Sean has a question here. Hi, Seb. What are the chances that CleanSpark will report a positive EPS on Thursday? I'm almost like 100% certain that they will have a positive EPS unless they throw in a bunch of crap in there, which I don't expect them to do because it's basically for them, it's like their first quarter results. So all the bad stuff should have been thrown in at Q3 report, which was their end of the year. So I'm expecting, based on just the revaluation of Bitcoin from where it started in the quarter to where it ended, their HODL position as well grew at that time as well. The revenues also increased from Bitcoin mining itself. They should be positive EPS. I will be shocked and surprised if they don't have a positive EPS. Okay. Let's see. Frank says, David Sachs hinted that the reserve has hurdles to clear and that this is not happening soon. Yeah, they gotta change the laws there a little bit to make that a possibility here. But yeah, I mean, they're working on it two ends. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve is going to be definitely their top priority there. They're also working on this sovereign wealth fund. That wealth fund could then buy Bitcoin and other coins as well. They could also buy companies, and they could also buy the miners if they really wanted to with the sovereign wealth fund. So it's game on. It's interesting. All right, question: how will How will any of this SBR help the miners' revenue when it will not be bought via spot Bitcoin, but rather bought via BlackRock IBIT ETFs, which is supposedly bought unverifiably off-chain OTC? Well, the SBR, you're talking about the SBR that they bought. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. I know that the Bitcoin that they mined, whatever their hollow position was at the beginning of the quarter to what the value of it was at the end of the quarter, that value add is going to be applied to their EPS. It goes down as a line item as revenues under there. So that's where it should be. So that's what should be helping them. But as far as when they bought it and how will that, I mean, that's not really helped them because they bought it at like, a lot of these guys, Marathon bought it around 90-some thousand, Riot bought it around 90-some thousand, Hut 8 also bought it around 90-some thousand. So that's not going to have a huge impact there, but the hodl that they had at the beginning of the quarter, before that, will get revalued for the higher Bitcoin price at the end of the quarter there. So that should be good. Let's see. Oh, you're right. I missed this. Thank you for reminding me. BitDeer news. They're building out more infrastructure in Canada. Yes. Let me pull that up really quick. I do apologize. I did see that today, and I was going to put that in here, and you're absolutely right. Let me see. Let me pull this up. Let's see. Where's BitDeer? BitDeer Technologies. There it is. Bear with me. Okay. So this is kind of interesting there. There's a lot of details in here as well, but we'll try and kind of go over it right now. So bear with me while I go here. So BitDeer today announced a strategic acquisition of a 101 megawatt site and gas-fired power project in Alberta to deliver the industry's first fully vertical integrated Bitcoin mining site. It is, let's see here, the acquisition of a fully licensed and permitted 101 megawatt site and gas-fired project situated on 19 acres of land near Fox Creek, Alberta. In an all-cash 21 million bid on that or a buyout. The site has potential to scale to 1 gigawatt of power. That's a lot, okay. Reflecting Alberta's abundant energy resources, supportive of regulatory posture, and pro-business environment. I would find that a little questionable there, but you know, they're kissing a little butt there, which is fine, I guess. Let's see. Project includes all permits and licenses required to construct on-site natural gas power plant, as well as approval for 99 megawatt grid interconnection with Alberta Electric System Operator. BitDeer will develop and construct the power plant in partnership with a leading engineering, procurement, and construction company and is expected to be energized Q4 of 2026. So you're basically out 2 years, more or less, on this to be a reality there. But the other part of it is how fast can they get the other, 900 megawatts that they might have available to them. So that's kind of interesting there that they have that potential there. But it's always, they call it a pipeline potential or something like that. We don't know if that's actually the case, depending on if they get the permissions and interconnection, all that stuff that need to be approved. Let's see. Concurrently, the company plans to build 99 megawatt of data center capacity for Bitcoin mining. Okay. This newly acquired site and power generation project provides the company a unique opportunity to become the world's first fully and vertically integrated Bitcoin miner at scale and potentially achieve some of the lowest Bitcoin mining production costs. Well, I wouldn't say it'd be the first. I mean, you had Mawson with their Mount Hardin facility that they had a power plant there. You got Stronghold that has 2 power plants, which Bitfarms is buying now. You've got somebody else. Mara also bought a site that has wind power, right? Wind generators there. So I wouldn't say that the first ones, but it is a good move nonetheless here. And then here, down here, where do we have it? Here it is. Gas-powered plant, right? 90 million cost on it. Electrical and data center infrastructure, 30,000 per megawatt or 30 million to build out. So they're definitely going to be doing some stuff here as things progress here. Yeah, and energization in Q4. So this is quite a ways out. If we have a similar cycle like we had in Bitcoin in the past, we'll be in a bear market by that time. So if we have an extended cycle, which my thoughts are we might be having an extended cycle, this is going to bode well for them because if Bitcoin continues to go up in 2025 and into 2026, they're going to do really well with this. So we'll see. So thank you for reminding me on this. So I think this is good news, but depending on how the cycle plays out, it might be better. What's what I'm looking for? It might be better now, I guess you could say, if they could build out than later on, depending on the cycle that we have. All right, let's go back to the Q&A here. All right, let's see here. Hi, Seb. You said Bitfarms is undervalued for a reason. Do you still feel the same after Ben's interview and undervalued for the reason actually means not undervalued on risk-adjusted basis, correct? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can definitely look at it that way. On a risk-adjusted basis, yes, right, the stock is down, making it difficult for them to use an ATM. They could do it if they wanted to, but you're going to be diluting a crap ton of shares. So it's not ideal, right? So if they can postpone that and do other things as well, which looks like they're doing right now to try to get a better position with their balance sheet and everything else, and build out in the United States as well, okay, fine. But yeah, they're undervalued because I think there's reasons for it, right? Missed targets, fumbles, stumbling over their own feet, it looks like a little bit here as well. That's kind of what I'm seeing here with them. And hopefully Ben is getting the ship in the right direction. I think it's going to take a while for him to do that, and he's been working on it for the past 6 months to do that. So I think he's trying to get in the right way. It's just a matter of time. Can they then execute on everything else? All right. Seb, why does Bitcoin HODL percentage of the market cap differ from this circle graph you have that shows BTC value graph as of market cap? It doesn't match. Yeah, that circle graph includes both the amounts here. I'll point this out to you guys here. So unlike for Riot, let's take a look at that for instance here. So Riot, you're talking about this circle graph here a little bit, right? This is, or this one, let me see here, BTC value, okay, market cap, right? So this is kind of what we're looking at here on this one where you got the market cap here and then the BTC value here. It doesn't, this circle graph combines those two, and that's why it looks weird. It doesn't add up to the same number here on it because it combines those two values basically, I think. Maybe I should get rid of that one. I don't really talk about this one because it is off for that reason. But hopefully that explains it. But I just kind of wanted to see what that is combined more or less. But yeah, that is kind of odd, right? Maybe I'll get rid of that one, put something else in there because it is a little bit incorrect is what I'm looking for. Okay, going back here. All right. Why does everyone focus on miner share price at a future BTC price? Share price for the mining should be multiple of forward earnings, which should then be focused on the average BTC price next year. I mean, yeah, there's many ways you can look at it, whether you want to look at where the average price of Bitcoin is going to be or where Bitcoin price is going to be actually. But yeah, future earnings, right? That's why we're seeing that some of these guys, Cleanspark, Riot, Mara, and others that are generating a lot of Bitcoin, they're generating a lot of revenue as well. So then it just comes down to what is their cost of operations. You know, I like looking at just all in cash costs, seeing are they profitable at this time right now, and you know, these guys are profitable right now based on that. But once you include everything else, like share-based compensation and depreciation, well, things might look a little bit differently at that point. There might be still a couple that are profitable at that point. Okay. Should Riot shareholders gain confidence that activist shareholders convinced management direction for company? I'm having a hard time thinking that should increase shareholder confidence. Yeah, I mean, if there's two ways to look at it, I guess. One way is there, you know, if the management there, the board and everything else was, I guess, set in their stone, or at least had high beliefs that Bitcoin's going to go up, they would probably just continue going on that way. But then whenever you get some activist investors in there and they, you know, try to make change and things like that, that's tough. You try to take the input of those as well, but could they be wrong on it? Maybe. Could they be right on it also? Yeah, maybe. So it's never an easy place to be in when that happens. But sometimes if you have a board that is just set and management is set on their way, you're going to tell those investors to go, you know, pound sand. You know, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it, and here's the reasons for why. So it is tough. But you also, I mean, the other part of it is that you're seeing what the other miners have done with HPCI plays, right? So other miners have done better than some of the pure play miners here, at least in the last 6 to 9 months or so. But could that change with Bitcoin going up in value? I think it can. And that's maybe where I think they're maybe a little short-sighted on that, I think. Maybe. That's just my opinion, right? But what do I know? I'm just a guy here in the basement talking about this stuff. Let's see your question. Trump World's Liberty Financial has transferred the majority of its ETH and wrapped Bitcoin to Coinbase. Is that bearish? Well, if they're looking to sell, unless they're putting it into Coinbase custody. So there's different ways to look at it. All right, let's see here. If we see a large increase in Bitfarms shares price, how could you see that influencing Riot's share price, if any, being that they own 20% of Bitfarms? Well, I think right now Riot is either like break even on what they own, or they might be a little bit underwater with how much they purchased of them. So I don't know if that's going to have a huge impact on it right now. You would need probably Bitfarms price to be like at $4, $5 to then maybe influence it maybe on it. And then at that point, you might be able to bring it up as a line item, I think, on the quarterly results. Let's see. Question, how reasonable is it that Bitfarms will be able to get from 324 megawatts to 955 in 2025, 425 million? The breakdown is in their January 2025 presentation. Well, they lowered their estimates now to, what was it, 800, 600 some odd megawatts by the end of the year here, possibly. So they've lowered those, I think, already as it is. Just what I think. So I don't know how possible that would be, and depending on what they would be doing with it, I mean, it's going to be tough for them. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it that way. Let's see here. February is usually a good month. Do you think it's still going to happen? I still think it's going to happen. I mean, we're only 4 days in. So I'm not too worried about it just yet, but we will see. Yeah, historically, February is a really good month. Let's see. All right. What are the chances, what do you think the chances are that Trump officially endorses Cleanspark as America's miner? I would say probably 0. I don't think he's going to pick any favorites. I think that he's going to say the miners are all American miners. All right. What else we got here? Does your data show dollar per share for operations of each miners? I think IREN shines due to limited dilution to this point. So let me see here. Let's see if I get this correct. Dollars per share. So if you take like the revenue divided by the number of shares, is that what we're talking about? I look at actually Bitcoin production per share. So bats per sats, or bats. Sats per share is what I look at on these guys. And I think, let me see here if I have it here. This was for last month. It hasn't been updated yet to this month here. And we did see that, yes, Marathon and IREN for last month, for December, sorry. Last month was January, prior month. It was actually a little bit higher here than Cleanspark was. With the recent increase in hash rate for Cleanspark, they're going to be probably a little bit more closer to that. But you can see Marathon was 269 sats per share. Iris was 267 as well at that point. And yeah. So I do track it that way. So I think it's kind of similar to what you're looking for, I think. Okay. With all the HODL miners being the worst performing miners, excluding HUT, which was moved on HPC, what will it take for you to admit you are wrong, or is this hill you're prepared to die? I will admit when I'm wrong. I will admit if I'm wrong and we are going into a bear market, right? So, and the miners have been done as well as we thought they're going to do. Right now, we're still in the middle of the bull cycle, potentially. I'm pretty sure we're still in a bull cycle. But why would I admit wrong when we're not through the cycle yet? So I will definitely, if I was wrong, I'll admit it. I have no problems admitting it if I'm wrong on it. But we're still not through the cycle. So just give me a couple more months. I would say give me 6 or 7 more months. If we're not in a better position with the miners then I'll probably admit, yeah, I was off. I was wrong. All right. Let's see. What else we got here? Let's see. All right. Hi, Seb. Cypher recently got 50 million. Do you think IREN is waiting for the next week on earnings to announce they got one as well? Especially since Sweetwater is so close to Abilene where they will start. I think they would have reported it already if they got something, because that is a material thing. So you have to report that. So I don't know. We'll see what we get from them when they do report. Definitely be interested to see there. All right. Let's see. SK says, with BTC ETFs and MicroStrategy available, do you think this cycle will turn out different with lower miner returns compared with prior because people have more investment options? That could be a possibility here. The miners are not, I mean, if you look from where they were at the bottom in December of 2022, where they are right now, they're still doing really, really good. If you got into it at those prices or close to those prices or dollar cost average into them at those points, you're still probably doing pretty good. The cycle is still not over yet, so that we will have to wait and see. But there's plenty of people that still believe that the miners will do very well and maybe even better than MicroStrategy from now on forward. But we'll see. Let's see. Question with Bitcoin 274,000 in Cleanspark. What do you think will go? Where do I think Cleanspark will go? At 174,000, that's roughly what 74% increase. Cleanspark should be at least 2x to 3x from where it is at the bare minimum. Could it be higher than that? Yeah. Okay, let's see. What do you think about Bitfarms using options on BTC to offset, reduce the need to keep growing exahash? Well, they're doing that. They did that. What do they call that? Oh my gosh, they call that something where they were using the BTC hedging or something like that. They were doing long dated calls or something like that. That worked out pretty well for them. They should probably continue doing that, especially if they can still get a nice return for it. I think they got like 17 million last time they did it, so it's a nice addition there. Let's see. Okay. Okay. I already covered that one. Yeah. Remember, Gary, I'll get to all your guys' questions, whether positive or negative. I'll get to all your guys' questions. You'd have to repeat yourself twice. What else do we have here? Talk about that. All right, let's see. SH says, just listen to the Ben interview. All the negative issues are behind the company. 2025 and beyond look very strong and promising. He even bought shares in December and January because he's very bullish. Yeah, I mean, things are looking that way. But the thing is, growth is going to be, to me at least, maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, but if we have a similar cycle like we had in the past, where Bitcoin goes up, through third quarter, something like that, that's the top on it. This is the time where you really want to build out and grow as much as you can, as fast as possible right now, so you can reap those rewards as Bitcoin goes up to 200,000, 250,000, whatever it might be. If we're looking for 2025 and beyond, okay, that's a little bit more of an unknown. Does Bitcoin actually have a bear cycle again or not? Do we go into an extended cycle? If we do go into an extended cycle, then it might actually play out pretty well for them. But I'm looking for the biggest bang for the buck right now in the next 6 to 9 months, basically, on these miners. But I still own shares in Bitfarms there, so I'm still rooting for them to do well. Okay. Question: what do you see as a reasonable scenario that would prompt Riot to sell Bitfarms shares? Possibly if they can, activist investors. Those guys might actually say, what are you doing holding shares of Bitfarms? You get to break even, sell those, and use it for HPCI growth, whatever it might be. That might be one thing that might does it. That does it. Okay. Who is Howard Nutlick? Isn't? Anyway, that's not his name, is it? I don't think that's his name. Let me take a look here. Hold on. Now you got me thinking. It is. Let me see, where is it at? It is Lutnick. Howard Lutnick. That just. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Play on words. Okay. Howard Lutnick is the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, right? That's what I'm thinking of? Yeah. He's going to be heading the the United States Sovereign Wealth Fund. So that's what he's going to be doing there. Okay, let's see. Thanks for answering my question on the circle graph. Yes, I was referring to the circle graph that you said you would now remove. Okay, perfect. Okay, your thoughts on Cango, the Chinese company? Their monthly Bitcoin count is pretty impressive. It is pretty impressive, right? They got, what, 30-some exahash already overnight when they bought those machines from Bitmain. My only concern is there that those are older generation machines. So they don't also own any infrastructure. That's also a concern. So they're probably mining at a higher cost. Don't know what that cost is. And then also how much lifespan do they have in those machines? I'd like to know some more details. There's not a lot of details there as far as what's the hash rate. Well, we know what the hash rate is, but we don't know what the joules per terahash is more or less. What are the machines, right? What is the mix of machines? We don't have a lot of details in there. So that's I can't get into something like that. Let's see. Question. I wish the market ignored costs like stock-based compensation and miner depreciation like you do and just counted energy costs. If they ignored all expenses like you do, they would soar. Well, the market also looks at non-GAAP, right? Accounting where you don't include those things and you look like a GAAP, right? Non-GAAP because you don't actually pay those things out, right? If it's share-based compensation, it's basically dilution of the company a little bit there, but it's not being paid out in cash. And stock-based or depreciation is also a tax thing. It's not really something that, it's used to the advantage of the company actually. So that's the reason why I don't really look at those. I want to see cash-based costs. If they didn't have the shares, could they actually survive with just what they're generating, right? Like any other business. Private businesses don't have shares. They can't rely on those, right? So they can't use those for share-based compensation, so they would put it on as regular bonuses or something like that. And then can they be actually cash flow positive? That's the big thing. All right, let's see here. Question: if Bitfarms can reduce its energy cost by 10% after relocation of sites in the United States, what would the effect on their break-even cost? It would definitely come down from them. Their break-even cost was high for the last numbers that I ran for them. But that was also including the payment of the CEO, right? Paying off the CEO with the lawsuit there. We'll do the new numbers once we get the latest update for Q4 on it. Let's see. Is there a technological or theoretical limit to how much joules per terahash mining efficiency can improve? Well, I mean, we see BitTF having a roadmap to get miners down to like 5 joules per terahash, right? So I think as we have advancements in semiconductor production and all that, going down to smaller sizes, 2 nanometer, maybe 1.5 nanometer down the road in 10 years, whatever it might be, you're going to see those kind of improvements happening as well. But it's going to definitely, I think it's going to decrease over time, the amount that we're going to see. I mean, can we get down to sub 1 joule per terahash? Maybe, I don't know, but it's going to take a while. Let's see here. Question: what happened to the soundboard? People didn't like it. They didn't think it was, they didn't think it was part me. They didn't think it was fun, so I took it out. What for? I just wanted to have a little fun, introduce people for it. So I'm all for the people. All right. Question: why would the miners benefit from the SPR when none of the Bitcoin transactions take place on chain because ETF as they buy sketchy, unverifiable OTC? So SPR, you're talking about strategic Bitcoin reserve. Well, it just takes Bitcoin off the exchanges and everything else, right? So it just dries up even more. Yes, you're going to have people selling that have been long-term holders, right? Bitcoin goes to 125,000, 150,000. People are going to be selling. They're going to be, maybe up nicely at that point, just like they were here at 100,000. So you're always going to have people selling for one reason or another. But at least it takes that out, but it also gives Bitcoin the validation that's more mainstream. It's gone, it's approved and everything else. So that could be the catalyst there. Plus, you're going to have other countries buying it as well. So a lot of things to follow there. Let's see. Follow up. Maybe a view of each miner's hash rate divided by total shares. You show HODL value per share. Hash rate per, yeah, we could also include that as well, I believe. But what would that garner for us, or what would that give us as far as data-wise? Hash rate is hash rate, total shares is shares. Yeah, what do they have there per share? I think better numbers are what their actual revenues are per share, or revenues per Bitcoin per share, whatever it might be. Let's see here. Okay. Which miner has the highest hash rate per share currently? What about future forecast? I don't like dilution. I don't track shares or hash rate per share on that one, because a company that has less shares, right, and maybe a smaller, like for example, take Hive, for example. right? They got about 90 some odd million shares, something like that. Their hash rate is only at 5. Then you take somebody that has like 300 and some odd million shares, or 400 million shares, like Amaro or Cleanspark, and they have 40, 50 exahash. So I don't really like that number. That doesn't really tell me anything either. What is their hash rate made of? Is it older machines? Is it newer machines? Is it more efficient machines? That doesn't really tell me anything there. I think the BTC or sats per share or the HODL per share, those types of things are better metrics to use. Just my opinion, at least. What else we got here? How will the share price of these miners ever increase if they're being shorted so much? The big money is suppressing these stocks right into the bear market. Well, I think eventually they're going to let it go. They're going to let them rip, because you might be better off doing that than trying to short them, especially when they report good numbers for quarterly results. But we'll see. Let's see. Did you give up on Bitfarms? I did not give up completely on them. I still have about 8,000 shares of them left. I'm going to hold on to that because I do think that there's still potential there. The potential is, I think, much less from where I thought it was going to be, 6-9 months ago, based on what we were hearing from them. And based on what we're hearing now, I had to reevaluate and change my positions around a little bit. So I sold Bitfarms yesterday and bought into Cleanspark and IREN more because of their growth. There you go, synthetic HODL, thank you. That was for Bitfarms and what they were doing with their Bitcoin there. Sadie, thank you so much for that. What else do we have here? Okay. What chance do you think of CORZ achieving their goal of 25 to 30 billion market cap given AI revenue and BTC bull market? Oh, geez, where are they at right now as far as market cap is concerned? Let me see. CORZ is at, okay, let's take a look at it here. Let's run some numbers maybe. So CORZ right now is valued at 3.4 billion, right? And you were saying it's to be at 25 to 30 billion or something like that, 20 to 30 billion. That's a 10x from here. Their Bitcoin mining has to get improved. They're operating older machines, so that's one. They would have to get more customers as well. I do think that they can get to, with what they have currently, which includes HPCI revenue, forward-looking revenue, right? And we're using December numbers right now, but I'm in between 2264 and 3396. That is roughly 3x from where they are. That could be 10 billion. I could see them getting to maybe like 15 billion to 20 billion, maybe, if they execute well on their Bitcoin mining side of things and get the new machines from Block like they said they would, the 15 exahash. That should help out, because you're seeing here with the machines that they haven't upgraded anything. Their Bitcoin production has been coming down each and every month because of it. Now, if they also increase their HPCI business with somebody else potentially, that would be a good thing as well. So that could happen there, where they could possibly go towards that. I'm not saying it's out of the question. I think it just depends on how they execute on it. But depending on the timeline as well, this cycle, I mean, Bitcoin goes to 200,000. The revenue is going to be, I mean, if things stay the same, Bitcoin, let's see, what was the revenue? 28 million here. So that's only roughly 60 million in revenue. So that's 600 million in that, plus add on top of the 500 million that they're going to be getting from. So it's 1.1 billion in revenue. Multiply that times 20p. So that could possibly get them to about 20, right? Somewhere around there. I'd say 15 to 20 would be my estimate on that. Okay, going back here. All right, my question is, how does Cypher have 3x the market cap of Bitfarms? Bitfarms has higher hash rate and a bigger HODL. Is this because of the missed targets? It's because of missed targets, and I think also Cypher has a bigger portfolio of megawatts going forward, right? Sites and things like that that they've been buying up. I think that's the reason for it there. Plus they had now the $50 million investment from somebody else. I think it's just those types of things. So we'll see how their report comes out for their quarterly results. But yeah, it is, some things are being valued more on HPCI than they are valued on Bitcoin mining side of things. So there's a lot of different things happening here for both companies. Let's see. Question, I like all miner chants I like all miners' chance of being successful if they don't have to pay for miners. Not sure why market can't just ignore that expense. Yeah, that would be great, wouldn't it? If they could ignore that. But what else do we have? I said with the MSTR Q4 results today, Wednesday, can you cover the results? Thanks. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it tomorrow's show, right, when they report. We'll see what they did with the FSB rules, if they took advantage of those or not. So we'll take a look at it. Let's see, question, will you win Miner Madness this time? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Let's see, what else we got here? Okay, how are shorts able to hold down miners when they are so profitable and we can determine what we want to count as expense? Well, they're long on Bitcoin and MicroStrategy maybe and short on the miners. All right, so, but Gary, I mean, I don't know where I know you've been here for a long time. Something has changed though. I'm seeing a change in attitude from you for some reason. And I don't know if you bought in at higher prices, and you're definitely down in the red right now. But yeah, I don't know. I would say be patient. Let's talk again in about 3 to 6 months. We'll see where things end up with the miners then. All right. But as always, I wish you, you and everyone else all the best. Let's see. You should make shorts for people with ADHD. Guys, I don't have time. I work a full day, regular, 9 to 5 job, do this on the side, spend time with my family, kids, wife, and all that stuff. I barely have time to do this as it is. That's why I normally do this pretty late. What are your revised price targets for Bitfarms? I haven't revised them yet. I will be revising them. We have the price targets where I think they should be based on January numbers for them. And those are right here. Here's a screenshot of that. I'm in between 403 and 605 just on their operations right now with a 15 multiple on their current operations. They're $1.48, right? They're way undervalued in my opinion based on this alone. Now, if Bitcoin goes to 200,000, could they be higher than this? Yeah, I would think so. But that's if they garner the attention of investors and the sentiment of investors and things like that in a positive light, I think. Okay, let's go back here. And then let's see here. What are your expectations this Thursday? Cleanspark's earnings. I believe they're going to be positive EPS. Now, will they be as high as I think they're going to be, like $1.60 or something like that per share? Okay, maybe not, but we'll see if my numbers come close at least on it. So I would expect pretty good numbers from them, unless they provide a lot of stuff for share-based compensation, depreciation as well, all those other things as well in there. Okay, so looks like I've cut up to all your guys' questions here. We're going to call it a night because it's already, we're going on an hour and 15 minutes here. But yeah, so we'll see what happens tomorrow. Tomorrow's another day in the miners. We'll get some more updates from the miners as well. Once all the miners do update, we'll do a review of the miners for the past month of January, which ones came out on top, which ones did not. We'll see how they shake out. And then do whatever else. Oh, we got the earnings reports coming out as well. So we are going to have a full plate here happening in the next probably 2 or 3 weeks or so. All right? But that's it. Thank you so much for coming in, as always. Love you all. I wish you guys a great night and a great week ahead still. We'll get back into it tomorrow. Until then, bye.